Do you think that the mainstream platforms such as Instagram and Facebook improve the chances of new brands and young designers to establish themselves, or is it difficult because they're forced out by bigger companies who can afford much more expensive marketing campaigns such as Louis Vuitton and Dior?
Yeah, as I just explained, it's more and more important because more and more people are looking at it. So Instagram, for instance, it's not yet, you should not yet pay to get your message spread out, but it will come, I think, shortly. So when you do this, it's really extremely efficient. It's becoming extremely costly, and obviously for smaller companies, it's more difficult. But it's not something that you can absolutely live with. For instance, in the group, we have a small company that is not doing any advertisement, that is not doing so far what I described on Facebook or internet or Instagram or anything else, or Snapchat or something. And this company, small, but is growing 50%, it's doubling every year. Because the product is something that we have created and that encounter big success. And we cannot produce enough. It's small, but we started this from scratch, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? And this year it will do 50 million. And next year, last year it was 25, next year it will be 100, small, profitable. So you should not generalize this. It's very important, but you can succeed at least at a reasonable size at the beginning without it. If really the product is not just marketing. If you do marketing like a real consumer group, I think that is not possible. But if you produce something that is really unique, it's possible.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men all my life. Like 9 and 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Bernard Arnault, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, embrace family.
I have been lucky, I must say, to have fantastic children. They are, all of them, interested by the family business. Family business, especially in the luxury area, is key for success. When you are in a family, you have two major advantages. One is you can think long-term, like Louis Vuitton, for instance. I'm not that much interested by the number of the next 6 months. What I am interested in is that the desire for the brand will be the same in 10 years as it is today. The second advantage of being a family business is to hire people. Because when people come to LVMH, they do not come in a group with some anonymity. They come in a family. You are not just a little person in a big thing. You are a member of the family, and you will be taken care of as such.
Rule number 3, have a lasting effect.
There's a big element known as the Gucci effect in luxury at the moment. Did Givenchy just get the Gucci effect? Did it get that big social media moment?
I think Givenchy is a symbol of elegance since Hubert de Givenchy. You know, Hubert was friend with Audrey Hepburn. So it's understated elegance, and it's an elegance which is timeless. So it lasts for a long time. I think more fashion things are less ephemeral, and we try to stay for the long run.
Rule number 4, start on your idea.
Je crois que pour préparer une carrière, déjà ce qui est important, c'est d'avoir un objectif. Moi j'avais dans l'idée d'être entrepreneur. Donc je crois que chaque individu a en lui une idée. Et ce qu'il faut, c'est extérioriser cette idée, c'est la trouver de façon à se sentir le plus vite possible, bien dans ce qu'il fait, et de pouvoir démarrer très vite dans une voie qui pourra par la suite lui donner la plénitude.
Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, the science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action for you to build a habit. So I've created a special free program to help you where every day for 254 days, I will send you an email that has a link to an unlisted video that if you watch it will boost your confidence forward. The link to join for free is in the description below.
If you have a great product, lots of people will buy it. And then the company will be successful.
You really have to believe the internet's going to be mainstream. A lot of people are going to get out there and use it.
Your number one job is to become more of yourself and to grow yourself into the best of yourself.
Rule number 5, combine modern and timelessness.
Would you say that Apple is now a luxury, or your definition, your improved definition of luxury, a company that...
Well, Apple is a fantastic company. And I happen to know Steve Jobs. And when he started the shops, he came to us to ask advice. And you can see many of these shops are not far from Louis Vuitton. Because he told me I would like advice, and I would like to see if we can put Apple shops in the same area of Louis Vuitton. And at that time, he was criticized enormously. Everybody thought it's completely crazy to sell Apple products in a shop, because at that time he was selling the Apple products only through a wholesaler. Like for instance Dell, and I remember at the time Michael Dell saying it's completely crazy, it will never work. So that's an example of contrarian thinking that is working. So I was not helping but advising a little bit, and I must say I was myself a little doubtful of selling. At that time it was not iPhone, it was the iPod product in the shops, but it was working. And we discussed the future. And I asked him, do you think, Steve, that your telephone is, to answer your question about luxury, your telephone is going to work as successfully in 20 years? And he said, I don't know, because there are some evolution and some newness and so on. And just to laugh with him, I told him, you know, that's the difference between us, because my Dom Perignon, I can guarantee you it will be sold and successful in 20 years. And that's also a luxury specificity. Luxury, one part of the products should be timeless. That's a paradox. To be successful, you have to have the combination between modernity and timelessness. And that's a combination that we try to keep, and to have a product from Louis Vuitton, which was started in the middle of 19th century, Some products are the same for many years, but also they should represent the utmost modernity. That's the combination. And voilà, that is what is fun and a key to success.
Rule number 6, build a great team.
You know, the success of the group is made of the quality of the product. And the quality of the product is a consequence of the extraordinary craftsmen and women that are working with us. We have a large campaign of hiring young people that sometimes are not really thinking of becoming craftsmen or craftswomen. But once we have given them the idea and once we train them, we have a rate of success which is near 90%. And it's very rewarding for us to see these young people being so proud.
Rule number 7, study.
Moi, je retiens surtout le fait que mon passage à Polytechnique m'a donné une capacité d'analyse et de synthèse qui est inhérente à la formation polytechnicienne, à la préparation d'abord de l'école, et qui permet à la fois d'analyser de manière factuelle et détaillée les différents problèmes que vous pouvez rencontrer, même si aujourd'hui je suis un peu loin des mathématiques que je pratiquais à l'école, où j'ai eu l'occasion de rencontrer des professeurs admirables, notamment mon professeur de mathématiques, Laurent Schwartz, qui était un véritable génie. Et donc cette capacité d'analyse et en même temps la possibilité et la capacité de synthétiser les découvertes pratiques que l'on fait et de les appliquer dans ma vie professionnelle. Donc pour moi, le passage à Polytechnique, en plus, a permis d'avoir une première rencontre avec gestion humaine dans la partie militaire. C'est ce que j'expliquais pour mon fils qui lui aussi est à Polytechnique et qui a dirigé une petite équipe de pompiers pendant son stage militaire. Voilà, des expériences qui m'ont été très utiles par la suite.
Rule number 8, integrate AI.
How important is AI for LVMH?
AI is part of what we work with in our shops, in the creation of products, in talking to our consumer. AI, for instance, is also a very good tool for makeup. When you try a makeup, you have one startup like this, you can try the lipstick and see yourself with the lipstick, and also soon you will be able to choose a dress and see you with AI wearing the dress, and moving with the dress. No, it's a lot of help and a lot of fun.
Rule number 9, seek new markets.
China is one of the most important markets now, and it has evolved very fast. I remember the first time I was in China, it was in '91. It's not that far. And the first time in '91 I arrived in Beijing, there was no car and only bicycles. And we were opening the first Louis Vuitton shop. And I remember I called my team, said, "Are you sure we are going to be successful?" And they said two things. One, Louis Vuitton and the group, we are a group of pioneers. So it's good to start in a country where we have no competitor. We were the first one. And two, strangely enough, since a few weeks the shop was open, we sell the most expensive products in a country where everybody was going by bicycles. So we started there, from there, and then happened what everybody knows. And today, China is very, very big, very developed economically, and we have around 30 Louis Vuitton shops, for instance, and many others, and the market is good.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is have fun.
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you watch a video and just get motivated, you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's what the science says. And that is not good enough, Believe Nation. We need to do better. When you actually get motivated and then create a specific plan of action for what you're going to do this week, you have a 91% chance of following through. And when you publicly commit to somebody else, like leaving a comment below in this video, it jumps even higher. So I want that for you. I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week so I can celebrate with you.
I always try to think of what can we bring to a brand. If we are looking at buying a brand, what can the brand be, how can it be improved? Also, does it fit with the other brands? Most of the time it is a competitor, but does it fill a niche where we could see we are not very much present? You know, I am interested in business. So in business, I think we are in a very strange period for several years. Money is almost costing zero, if not a negative interest, which means that some companies, as LVMH for instance, when we borrow money, we are paid to borrow money. I think it's dangerous. 2, you have a lot of money in the markets. 3, the prices of assets like stock prices are extremely high. So I am very optimistic for the world for the long term, but I see as unavoidable that a crisis happen within the next few years. I cannot tell you exactly when, but bubbles are inevitably building up now, and at one point they will explode. You know, it's the first time I have seen that since I am in business, and since I am in business, I have seen crises almost every 10 years. It very soon will be over the last period of 10 years without anyone.
What do you think the definition of luxury is?
First of all, I don't like very much the word luxury, because you have something attached to it which means show off, which means something of non-significance, you know, something futile, something that is useless. You know? And I think a better definition is combination of quality and creativity. It's how I define what we do. Obviously, these products, because of the very high quality they have, because of the high level of innovation, they are expensive. But the reality is really behind the appearance, behind the price. It's the quality and the innovation that people are looking for. So for me, it's a definition. And in the group, we are really concentrated on this. How can we create the most innovative products? And the creators or the scientists that work with us in the many laboratories we have, they have complete freedom to express new ideas, and after that we have to transform them in reality all over the world. I'm never bored. It's what I have in mind. When I think of myself young, it's fun, you know? And I am very competitive. So it's like in tennis. I always want to win, and that's fun. When a currency is going down, we have the possibility of increasing gradually prices, like we did recently in the US, 5%, because our products are so in demand that we can do it. But obviously, we are very fair with the consumer. When the currency goes back up, which can happen, which happened in the past, we do the opposite. So we can decrease prices also. If, for instance, the dollar comes back up, we can also play it the other way, to be fair with our consumers. Our culture is based mainly on creativity. And in a startup, the major reason for success at the beginning is to have an idea, a creative idea, an innovative idea that is really putting the company with an advance to everybody else. It should be, to be successful, a game changer. For us, it's, I would say, way of life, because almost all of our brands were startups. If you take, for instance, Christian Dior, it was started from scratch in 1947. And we try to keep the same spirit, which is a spirit of being close to the founder and close to movement and new ideas. And also, I must say that the startup we see today, their goal is not to stay a startup forever. They want to grow. The goal of a startup is becoming a large company. If you take, for instance, Facebook or Microsoft, they were startup at one point. Now they are quite big. And we try to help the startups that we chose today to become big success. And I think it's a goal of every startup. This being said, it's not always easy. We are investing for a long time. We are investing in startups of any kind. Fashion startup, digital startup. I think the best example I can give you is a Sephora. You know, when we invested in Sephora in the 90s, it was a startup. And today, it's maybe the largest retailer of beauty products in the world. And we have started also very early, beginning of 2000, a digital operation, which is based in San Francisco, where we have, I think, one of the best digital team in the world. And it's extremely successful. For instance, we are #1 seller on the digital, on the web, of beauty products in the US, far above Amazon. Right. You know? So we know how to manage startups and how to make them grow. Because remember, a startup, the goal of the startup is not to stay a startup. The goal of a startup is to grow. As important as the idea at the beginning is the execution, and the fact that building on the idea must be really very professional, very efficient, and that also makes a difference. I have seen a lot of startups with very interesting ideas, but with also some other competitors almost with the same ideas. But only one or two of them are successful. It's because the execution of their business plan. So it's key for the long-term success of a startup to be able to execute well. Companies are very involved in the tech world because tech has more and more importance on the way we do business. For instance, if you take one of our companies, Sephora. Sephora is doing a lot on e-commerce in the US. For instance, it's the #1 site selling beauty products in the US. So we are always in touch with new ideas, with newcomers, with startups, and we try to find the best. For instance, in LVMH here in Vivatech, we have had 800 applications for startups. We chose 30 of them, and among the 30, we will choose 1, 2, or 3 that will be announced tomorrow, that I think, or we think, will be the most promising for the future. When I was managing a family business, which was in a different sector, I happened to enter in contact with a group in France that was having problems, business problems. And in this group, there was Christian Dior. And I was interested by business, and I wanted to turn around this group and build on which I think was at the time the best asset. And the best asset was Christian Dior. And I was interested in Christian Dior for a long time. Because the first time, you know, you are very young, but the first time I was in New York, it's in 71. And I remember the first time I arrived at Kennedy Airport, I took a cab. And at the time, the president of the US was Richard Nixon. By the way, they were devaluating the dollar during the summer where I was there. I bought dollars and my dollars went down. But I arrived at the airport and I started to talk to the cab driver, and he loved France. And he was interested in politics. So I asked him, and he did not like Nixon. So he was talking about that. He said, you love France, so what do you know in France? Do you know the French president? It was Mr. Pompidou at the time. Nobody here remembers. But he said, no, I don't know the French president, but I know Christian Dior. And immediately, it struck me and showed that the name of Christian Dior is one of the, if not the most known all over the world in many countries. When I go to China, when I go everywhere, it's the name which is the most well-known. So as far back as 71, I understood the power of a name. It's not enough, but I think it's one reason also. You have students in marketing, but I often meet students in marketing. And in spite of the group being #1 with the students in France, in desirability to work in the group, I always tell them, we don't do marketing. Because marketing is against what a company like us should do. Because marketing, what is marketing? Marketing is to analyze what the customer wants, and then try to follow what the customer is looking for, and test what you create, following these trends, and try to do it. We do completely differently. We create new products, and sometimes it fails, but when it's successful, the customers follow. So the marketing is not for us part of the product creation. The marketing is after. The marketing is when we have these products, how with these products, which people want, maximize the desire. Because our business, you asked a question about luxury. Luxury, for me, is how can you create desire? The most important word in our business is desire, how to create desire. And when you have the product, then you have to create good environment in the shops, and you have to present it well, you have to do good films if it's a perfume, good advertisement either in the magazine or in the internet if it's a product. So that's the way I see, and we see in my group, the way to put product in contact with the consumers.
If you want to get inside the mind of the world's richest man, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The major reason for success at the beginning is to have an idea. The most important word in our business is desire.